Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for an informative and exciting Costa Cruises webinar. My name is Justin Whitmer, and I'm the Professional Development Specialist here at CLIA, and I'm just going to quickly run through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. Our webinar today will run for about 40 to 45 minutes with time for questions at the end. So please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of this platform, and we will get them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. Um, so if you wanted to view it in the future, you're welcome to do that. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter today, Costa's Head of Sales and Trade Marketing, LaDonna Allen. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with Costa Cruises. And we're just now kind of starting to restart in the North American overall distribution model, right? So what Costa did prior to the pandemic, they did have some BDMs and strategic account managers that were working with our strategic accounts. But if you think about Costa, and we'll talk a little bit about who Costa is, but we are not North American based. So the majority of our deployment is over in Europe, and that's kind of our home. But what we did coming back from the pandemic is we restarted Italy, which is our number one source market. We restarted Brazil, which is our number two source market. And now we're reintroducing ourselves within the North American market. But with that being said, what we're doing in North America is a little bit different. It's a little bit different than what we did pre pandemic, and it's a little bit different than our competitive set as well. So in the North American market, our strategy is 100% trade only. So we are completely dependent upon you. We're dependent upon your support. And we're going to be coming to you first for you to be able to push our product out to your customers. That means we're not going to be competing with you by reaching out directly to your customers, but it also means that we need to be really good partners with you. We need to make sure that you have the tools that you need to succeed. We need to make sure that we're showing up in the places where you need to see us. And that means that we'll be at Cruise World next month. That means that we'll be at CLIA Cruise 360. But we want to make sure that we are arming you with everything that you need to talk to your customers. And some of that is going to be a work in progress. So, know two things here. One, that we're trade only and trade first. Number two, we're a work in progress, and we're going to need both your patience and we're going to need your support as we continue to build out in the North America market. If you're not familiar with who Costa is, we are part of Carnival Corporation. So Costa is the Italian sister, if you will, within Carnival Corporation. We are not new. We've been around for over 75 years. Costa really began as a family-owned Italian oil or olive Italian olive oil refining company in 1860. We then grew and became part of Carnival Corporation in 1997. So if you think about what Carnival Corporation looks like, you can see all of the sister brands that are in here. So you've got Carnival, who is really focused on those home ports within the North American market. You have Princess, who is our premium sister along with Holland America line. And each one of us kind of has our own space within Carnival Corporation. But what that allows us to do is it allows us to be part of this corporation that can do things like shift some of our additional tonnage over to Carnival. Some of you may know that we did transfer a couple of our ships over to Carnival. She's currently running them as fun Italian style under the Carnival umbrella. And what that allows us to do, it allows us as Costa to take this extra tonnage. These are ships that we built for the Asia market pre-pandemic. They come out following the pandemic. We don't need all of that capacity. We can't fill it right out of the gate. But Carnival actually needs some additional capacity. So, being part of this much larger global corporation gives us the ability to really kind of move between the brands and to maximize how we utilize our portfolio of ships within those brands. So you'll see us at Cruise World. We will be there with all of our sisters with Carnival Corporation. And to give you a little bit of an idea of who I am, I literally just joined. I started August the 1st as the head of sales and trade marketing for Costa, but I have a long history in the travel industry. So many, many years ago, I started as a travel agent, and I will use the word agent because that's what we were back in the day. I started as a travel agent back in 1989. This is the first cruise that I went on. It was on Royal Caribbean. I was on the Monarch of the Seas. So I've been around for a while. And I served for 18 years as a travel advisor. This is the last travel agency that I worked with. I worked at Warwick Travel in Williamsburg and Newport News, Virginia. So I spent a lot of time, my husband was active duty Navy at the time, and I spent a lot of time working at all of these individual travel agencies. They were all, I started at a call center, but all of these travel agencies that I worked at along the way were independently owned. And so we really had to be very dynamic in the way that we adapted to what was happening in the market. If you think about going back to 1989, that was still when they paid commission on airline tickets. So there's been a lot of changes that have happened in the market, from the internet to the cutting of commissions to the changing of commissions to the pandemic. Really, our model as travel advisors has changed multiple times along the way. So I spent 18 years as a travel advisor. I also started a travel agent organization in Virginia as well. I started the Hampton Roads chapter of the Professional Travel Agents of North America. And I think that it's really a great opportunity to be part of CLIA, to be part of ASTA, to be part of Patana, to be part of these organizations where we're coming together not as competitors, but we're coming together as collaborators in this greater industry. We have to love it. The reality is, we're never going to make $1 million in the cruise industry or as travel advisors, but what we can do is we can bring dreams to life for these people who have saved, who are celebrating milestones. The vast majority of people, the reason they travel is to celebrate a milestone. So, what I want you to take away from this is, over those 18, 20 years I spent as a travel advisor, you really have to be dynamic. You have to grow as the overall ecosystem grows. There's going to be changes. The new thing that's happening now is AI, social media. You have to embrace all of those changes and kind of understand how you have to adapt your model to what the current atmosphere is. So if you think you might either recognize my name or recognize my face, it's because then I moved over to the supplier side. I was a BDM with Princess and Cunard, and then I transitioned over to national accounts with Princess, and I spent 10 years over there in the Princess system as well. So I'm very familiar with Carnival Corporation. As you can see, all of my history has either been as a travel advisor or within Carnival Corporation. So now what I want to do is I want to talk about, how does Costa fit in with your portfolio as a travel advisor, because the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that we very clearly articulate who Costa is, what that experience is, so that we make sure we put the right customer on the right brand. And if you think about it, there really is a time and a place for every brand within the Carnival Corporation portfolio and even within our competitive set. There is a time and a place in everybody's life that NCL is going to be right for them, that Royal Caribbean is going to be right for them, or that Princess or Costa is right for them. What we have to do as travel advisors is really understand kind of the DNA of each one of the brands so that we can put the right person on the right brand. I did take some time right before I joined Costa and as I was starting to settle in to look at Cruise Critic, to look at some of the feedback that we had on Costa. And what I very quickly realized is that oftentimes when customers are not happy with the Costa experience, it's because we didn't quite set the stage for them accurately. They didn't really know what to expect whenever they got on board. And really, that's my goal today, is to help you understand who is Costa, who is your perfect passenger to put on Costa, so that we can, in a collaborative way, grow our overall audience. So Costa has very distinctive traits that sets us apart. In terms of hospitality on board, we're going to have a very multicultural onboard staff. So you are going to see or you're going to hear multiple languages that are spoken on board. English is always going to be spoken, but of course, we're Italian. We're Italian flagged. We are the only Italian flagged cruise line. Some people think that MSC is Italian flagged, but they're actually flagged out of Switzerland. So we are the only Italian flagged cruise line that is out there. And that is really kind of at our core who we are, delivering that warm Italian hospitality in a very multicultural way. And that adds some unique value to your customers that are looking for that kind of in-depth multicultural experience. We'll talk a little bit about some of the innovation that Costa has brought to the market. You'll actually be pretty surprised whenever we look at our history at some of the innovative things that we have brought to the market. We want to make sure that we are sustainable and that we're inclusive. So that is a true priority for us. We want to make sure that we take good care of the oceans that are our home and also the places that we travel. One of the ways that you'll see that is we were the first cruise line to have the biodigesters on board. We were also the first cruise line and recently won an award for reducing food waste in a couple of ways that are really innovative in the market. We have a program with the places that we visit to provide additional food that would traditionally have been food waste. Now has become a donation to the local communities. So we're serving the communities that we are visiting. That's an important piece of who we are. We talked about being Italian. So for over 76 years, we've sailed flying the Italian flag. We have a fleet of 9 ships. We'll talk a little bit about the fleet and what the fleet looks like. But there's some really interesting things that Costa was the one to kind of pioneer. We were the first to introduce world cruising in 1964. We were the first to package flights and sailings together in 1968. We were the first to introduce Mediterranean sailings in the winter in 1996. And we were actually the first to proactively publish a sustainability report. All of those things are important to us and kind of who we are in our DNA. The next slide I'm going to take you through is a video about our history. I wanted to warn you just in case it's a little bit loud. The next slide is a video that takes us through the history and I think gives you a good introduction to who Costa is. Pretty amazing video there, and I think that it really kind of speaks to who we are and the place that we fit within the overall market within cruise. So we talked a little bit about sustainability, and I want to make sure that I really kind of drive that home with you guys because it's important. It's an important piece of who Costa is at our core. It's also a very important value to Carnival Corporation. So our two flagship vessels are the Smeralda and the Toscana. Those are the very first ships that were powered by liquefied natural gas. So again, we've got this very, very strong commitment, both as a brand, as a corporation, to the power of good travel and the power of bringing travelers to new locations in a sustainable way. So let's talk about some of the places that we go and what the fleet looks like. You may actually be surprised that we, even after moving the ships over to Carnival, we do have a fleet of 9 ships, and those ships are kind of different in size. I'm not going to go through the entire fleet, but I do want to give you some idea of who Costa is and some of the ships that are within our fleet. So our first ship that we'll take a look at is the Deliciosa. And for her, she is 92,000 gross tons. I don't know if you're aware, but the way that we measure tons is it's how much liquid would fit within the hull of the ship. So whenever you're looking at gross tonnage, that's the liquid that the ship would actually hold. When you're looking at capacity, her capacity is 2,800 passengers. At maximum capacity, 2,200 passengers in lower berths. So a lot of the things that you're going to see about these ships are very familiar to you. And again, being an old travel advisor, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that differentiate us. So you can see, even here on the side of the ship, you can see the ode to the Italian flag that's there. This is the Fascinosa, and she is a little bit larger. She has passenger capacity of 2,900 lower berths, maximum capacity to include adjoining staterooms, family staterooms, all of those, is 3,800. And so if you look at the fleet, there are going to be slight differences between the ships. These ships are not cookie cutter. They're not all exactly the same. But what is kind of the underlying parallel across all of the ships is that they are built to have this Italian grace and hospitality fully displayed on board. We've got the Fortuna, and the Fortuna, she's a little bit different in size, 2,700 lower berths. And we'll talk a little bit about where these ships are sailing as well. Here is one of the flagships, the Smeralda, and she is typically over in the Mediterranean, so you will see quite a bit of her in terms of the deployment. She is our largest. The Smeralda and the Toscana are the largest in our fleet at 5,200 lower berths. So these are the larger ships. They're also the newest ships that are currently within the fleet. She was built in 2019, so just prior to the pandemic. When we talk about what the ships are like on board, pretty standard. You've got your balcony cabins, you've got suites, you've got interior cabins as well. And also on these ships, you do have exterior. But if you look at kind of what the ship looks like, you can see that she over indexes in balconies. So one of the things to know is that in terms of overall number of cabins that's available, the largest inventory that you're going to see is in the balcony category because she does over index in balconies. All right. Now, who is the customer that you're going to be putting on board? It's going to be your silver couples, it's going to be older couples, it's going to be young couples, and it's going to be families. Interestingly, there is a truly amazing kids program on board. There is a kids club that has the various different levels for the different age kids. It's very multicultural, so they are going to hear multiple languages that are spoken in that kids club. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that this is for those customers who are looking for an immersive experience. They're looking for an immersive experience in Europe. They want to hear those multiple languages that are spoken on board. They want their children to have a very multicultural experience whenever they're going to Europe. So the food is going to be very Italian. The overall vibe on the ship is going to be very Italian, very warm and welcoming on board. But again, very multicultural. So you just want to make sure that that's what your customers are looking for. But in terms of demographics, we cross all of the demographics. It's very multi generational and a really great family experience for those families that are looking to have um, a combined experience with all of the various generations. So you do have the kids club that's available, but you've got a lot of activities that are very available for all of the family members, regardless of age. Now, I want to talk about what kind of differentiates us in terms of the onboard experience. First and foremost, I would say these new sea destinations. We're going to talk a good bit about these sea destinations. These sea destinations really give you an opportunity to see things in a different way. And one of the things that we as cruise lines tend to do is we oftentimes will look at the cruise ships as just a way to get you from one place to another. Certainly, we want you to be comfortable. We want you to have a great onboard experience. But what Costa has done that has truly revolutionized the industry is we're taking this to another level and creating these new sea destinations as well. The food and beverage experience on board, again, very Italian. You'll see Campari bar on board. You'll see Aperol on board. There are drink packages that your customer can purchase, and I would highly recommend that you do that in advance whenever you sell this. You sell it with the drink packages. You want to sell a fully inclusive experience for your guests. Sell as many things as you can add early on. It is much easier to sell a full package experience, and then if they want you to back down the price, if they need to back down the price a little bit, you can do that. But the better experience for your customer is to really sell the food and beverage experience along with the drink package. Ours is a very Italian experience on board. One of the very interesting pieces of feedback that I received is that this is some amazing food that's on board. Absolutely amazing. We'll talk a little bit about the food, but know that it is created fresh on board. And you have an opportunity to really experience some great Italian cuisine when you're on board. We talked a little bit about the sea destinations, and there's various different places that you can experience those sea destinations. And I want to kind of run through what does that look like. These sea destinations are kind of taking your cruise experience to the next level. These sea destinations give you an opportunity to experience that destination in a different way. If you think about it, there are things that you can only see from the sea. Right? So, this gives you an opportunity to have a really great immersive experience but see it from the perspective of the ocean. So you've got breakfast on Capri Bay with a view of at dawn, enjoying some amazing Neapolitan coffee. It is at sunrise, y'all, so it is very early. Hot coffee served from the smoking mocha pots. And then, if we look at some of the other destinations, you can enjoy a French breakfast out in the Bay of Calanques. And again, it is something that you can only see from the perspective of the ocean. You're looking at these vast landscapes in these beautiful destinations and seeing it from a different perspective. This one is also served very early from 6:30 to 7:30 with some amazing croissants. Now, if you want to do things in the evening, think about Mykonos. So, Mykonos, this amazing nightlife that they have in Mykonos, and oftentimes cruise lines have to leave so early that you don't have an opportunity to experience what it's really like in the evening. And here we have the Mykonos Sea Party, and this is where we take the music from these nightclubs and really turn it into a great party on board. You can party the night away next to the pool. There's some amazing light shows that happen here as well. Santorini, if you think about Santorini, this is such a controversial port, right? After all the years that I've been sailing to the Mediterranean, you have people on both sides, right? They really want to go to Santorini because they want to see Santorini, but then it can get really busy. So now you have an opportunity to experience Santorini at sunset from a ship and looking over the sunset with Santorini in the foreground. And that is an amazing experience. Again, you think about the ships, typically they've already gone out to sea by this point, and you don't get to see those amazing sunset views that you can only see from the water. And whenever it comes to stargazing, if you think about seeing the various constellations in the oceans that you're sailing, this is phenomenal. If you've never done this, absolutely you want to put this on your agenda. It's it's a completely different view whenever you're surrounded by darkness and you see things. We turn off the lights and you see things in a very different way. These constellations almost come to life. And again, it's really just immersing you into the destination that you're currently sailing in. Same in Abu Dhabi. So Abu Dhabi is very exotic, right? But this brings the perspective of Abu Dhabi, the backdrop and the glamorous parties that you have in Abu Dhabi and in Oman. We bring those on board. We have traditional clothes and dancers that are on board for you to kind of experience the destination again, but looking at the backdrop. Look back here behind them so that they're looking at the backdrop of the destination. In the Oman Gulf as well, we've got desert on the sea. And we also do this down in the Caribbean. Now, you probably don't think of us first in the Caribbean, and that's okay. We don't have any ships that sail from the US shores, so we wouldn't necessarily be the first cruise line that you would think of for Caribbean. But where you want to think about us for your passengers going to the Caribbean is, again, if they're looking for that multicultural experience, if they're looking to hear other languages on board, maybe your customers, their first language is Spanish. They would be perfect for the sailings that go out of La Romana. And so think about us for the itineraries that get deeper into the Caribbean. Of course, they're going to have to fly to go there. But if you think about some of those places that they're already going to be getting on a plane to fly to the Caribbean, these are really amazing itineraries. And again, with these sea destinations, we are immersing you in the destination when you're on board the ship as well as on land. Guadalupe Bay as well, we have the White Moon Party. And in Northern Europe, I like to bring this one. I'm a yoga girl, so I really love yoga. And I just think that this is pretty amazing that we do this meditation out on deck where you can enjoy the midnight sun as well. Some really great chefs that are on board. You're going to find that the culinary experience absolutely cannot be beat. And there are some things that are very different. So some of the things that are very different with us, you're going to experience the destination both on deck when you're doing these sea destinations, on land when you're enjoying the shore excursions, and also through the gastronomical experiences that we have in the dining room. You will, every evening, your guest will experience the dishes that are inspired by the following day. So, very, very regional cuisine, very much about having your customers experience that destination in so many different ways. Also, we have very long excursions because we are in port late, and those excursions also have some components that are also delivered with National Geographic expeditions as well. We invite you to bring your customers to live the wonder, right? So, wonder is something that we can't necessarily describe. It's something that you have to live. And we believe that by exploring and going to these various destinations, the authentic beauty of the world really comes to life, and it can enrich our lives in very tactile ways. So, where is it that we can take you? Our 9 vessels are going to sail around the world and year round to some of these amazing destinations. I'll quickly take you through some of those destinations. The Mediterranean is our home. We offer 3-day cruises, 7-day cruises that you can stack, 14-day itineraries as well. One of the things that's a little bit different about Costa is that there will be multiple embarkation ports. So, say the itinerary leaves out of Barcelona, you may also be able to embark in Savona or Genoa, some of the other ports of call along the way. And what that allows you to do is it really allows you to kind of customize that experience. We are year round in the Mediterranean, so this gives you a really great year round Mediterranean home port experience. One of the ships that's there is the Costa Toscana, and I wanted to kind of take you through a few of these itineraries, just highlights of what this looks like. If you're able to join me in November for our CLIA webinar in November, we will get much more in depth with these itineraries. But today, I just wanted to take you through a highlight. So if we look at 2025, we will have Mediterranean itineraries all the way through 2025. So we never stop sailing in the Mediterranean when you would be able to sail on the Toscana. You do have both summer and fall, and then she'll reposition. We've got some really great Northern Europe itineraries as well. You see the Fabulosa and the Diadema. These are some of the really great Northern Europe itineraries that your customers can sail on, anywhere from 8 days to 15 days, and we've even got up to 23-day cruises as well. These are some really great itineraries for those customers who are looking to do something a little bit more off the beaten track. If you think about Northern Europe itineraries, it tends to be the same itineraries over and over again. I would recommend, if your customers are looking for Northern Europe, that you take a look at our itineraries, because what I can tell you is that they are a little bit different than what you're going to find with our competitive set. Caribbean, I mentioned Caribbean to you. We've got two ships that are going to be sailing. We've got Guadeloupe, and we've also got La Romana as well. This is kind of a short season for us, so it runs like December through February. World Cruise, I mentioned that we were the first to introduce world cruising, and so we've got a really great world cruise itinerary. This is open for you to book now. You can book for 25. There is not a whole lot of inventory that's still available, but there is a little bit of inventory still available. So you've got both spring, and you've got fall, and you've got winter as well. Dubai in the UAE, November through March, the Smeralda will leave the Med, and she'll go down to Dubai in the UAE. And this is what some of these itineraries look like, anywhere between 5 and 12 days. These are super popular right now. So if you've got people who are interested in doing the Emirates, definitely take a look at this. Also, South America. Now, I talked to you about our number two source market being down in Brazil. So, if you have customers that are looking at South America, we've got some really great itineraries, and we've got both short and the longer itineraries. So, I want you to kind of keep us in mind if you're looking at South America. New to us, we are going back to Asia. We haven't been in Asia for some time, but we will be going back to Asia, and we will have the Serena that is there doing some really great itineraries, whether you want to do Hong Kong and Tokyo, or you want to do Taiwan and South Korea. You've got a lot of different options. I think that this is really great for your customers who, again, are looking for that multicultural experience, to be able to experience some new destinations. Southeast Asia as well. And the offer that's currently running is always summer. This is balcony at the same price of ocean view. This runs through the 4th of November. And so what we're going to do, what Costa is going to do, is we're going to have these longer overarching offers that are happening. And I think that these really resonate with the market, because we're offering the balcony at the same price of an ocean view. And if you look at the way it displays, it does display with the same price for the balcony and the ocean view. It's a really great offer. Starting right after this ends, we're going to have what we call the Black Friday warm up. This is something that we typically don't do in the North American market. It's more popular in other markets. But what we're going to do is we're going to start that Black Friday offer right at the beginning of November, and then we will be adding to that offer. So the offer itself will stay the same. It's going to be $1 off. That's the message. It's going to be $1 off. It's going to be a discount. And we'll start with certain voyages in the Caribbean. The second week of that, we're going to add additional voyages. The third week, we're going to add additional voyages, so that by the time you get to Black Friday and you get to Cyber Week, you're going to have much of the deployment included within this Black Friday offer. But this gives us the opportunity to have a conversation about each one of the deployments, the destinations that we visit individually. So be watching for that. If you are not already part of our Facebook group, I would recommend that you join our Facebook group. We're going to be pushing out some really great information there that you can both use yourself and that you can also reuse for your customers. In terms of the fairs that are out there, I talked to you very quickly about the different types of fairs. You want to go ahead and include the drink package as much as you can. We're probably going to be doing some work in terms of the way that these are displayed and the various different fair descriptions. But the drink package is something that you do want to include. It's a really great value for your customers, and it is included as part of the commissionable fare. So you want to make sure that you are selling this unless you're selling sweets. If you're selling sweets, because this one tripped me up for a minute, it took me a minute to figure this one out. If you're selling sweets, it already includes the My Drinks Plus package, which includes the premium drinks, and it also includes the gratuities as well. So, as we continue to build things that work for the North American market, your feedback is really important to us. And with that being said, we are going to be sending you, following this webinar, you'll be getting a list of the new travel advisor rates. So they are for both Q4. We're also getting some Q1 voyages as well, because we know that the best way for you to be able to sell the product is to sail on the product. So we want to make sure that we make this available to you. We'll send this out to you so that you have a copy of it. We also have a brand new brochure that our trade marketing team just put together. We will have physical copies of this at Cruise World, but you can scan the QR code here and go to the digital version. It's really great to send out to your customers. I think that it gives a really good indication of who Costa is. Kind of tells you what our onboard vibe is, so that you can sell that to your customers in a way that they truly understand what the experience is going to be once they get on board, and so that you've paired the right customer with the right experience. The second QR code here is for Costa Extra. This is our travel advisor portal, and this is where you can go in, you can get marketing assets, you have the live booking engine here. Again, this is one of those that's a work in progress, so we want to make sure that you send us your feedback. What is it that you do want to see and you don't want to see within this TA portal? All of that feedback is very important to us. Again, you are our only customers. We aren't marketing to your customers. We're only marketing to you. And so that means we need to provide you the resources that you need in order for you to sell our product. We do have a dedicated inbox for you. It's Costa Sales at us.costa.it. This is monitored and prioritized over anything else that's coming in. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, you can reach out to them, find out who your BDM is. We do have a staff of BDMs in our field sales team. So reach out, get the help that you need, and make sure that you stay connected with us on Facebook. Make sure that you come say hello to us at Cruise World. And overall, I just want to leave you with a video that I think really exemplifies who Costa is.
Je sais pas. Live your wonder.
So thank you. Thank you for spending time with me today and taking time out of your day to learn more about Costa. I am looking, I don't see any questions that have been submitted, but I am always available to you guys. Your BDMs are available to you. Please do come and see us at Cruise World and help us make this the best Costa we can be in North America.
Great. Thank you so much, LaDonna. I appreciate everything today. And thank you, everyone, for joining. And we hope to see you at the next webinar. All right.
See
Everyone,
you
have a great
soon.
afternoon. Take care.